Hi there and welcome to Transcona Trailer Sales. Today I welcome you to the 2024 Intech Terra Willow. We are just going to start off the back of the unit. If you notice up top, you do have that observation camera this customer opted to go with. You also have two 3/4 inch drive nuts for your rear stabilizer jacks. The way those work is you're just going to hook up that drive tool, which is located inside the front passenger side compartment. Run these feet down to the ground. Once the feet contact the ground, just giving another 1/8 turn to snug them up. Careful not to over torque them because you do run the risk of bending them, and it just takes any bounce or sway you see we have in the unit right now away. You do have a 2-inch little receiver back here, so if you were wanting to put a small bike rack or something on there, you could do so. Just keep it in mind, you do have a max weight rating around the left side of the unit. Opening up this rear door, you do get a nice storage compartment. Right to the left of that, you got your little water station. So that's gonna be for your city water connection. So if you're at a site with service, you can thread a garden hose in there, turn it on. It's gonna pressurize all those lines without the need to run your water pump. And then you got your fresh tank fill. Filling this up, fills up your fresh tank, and that's what your water pump draws off of. Right below that is just a little exterior shower device here. If you just pull this hose out like so, you get that little garden hose end. Pull this back just like a airline. Push it in, locks that into place, and then you just twist this knob to allow the water to flow, and then you can just unconnect it, and then to store it back away, just tuck the green end in first, and it all just kind of pushes in nicely, and then it'll allow you to close that door. Right down here, you do have a little spot for a sewer hose. Once fully extended, it is about 15 feet long. We just keep it stored down here to keep as much smell out of the unit as possible. Then this just locks into place like so. And then up ahead, you got your two tank drains. You do have the gray on the right and the black on the left. Whenever you're opening those, you're always going to want to empty your black tank first. It's going to be your dirtiest water filled from your toilet. And then you can follow behind that with the gray water, which is typically a little cleaner, filled from your sinks and your showers. The outlet for it is just right here. You're just taking that outlet, and really, sometimes it's a little further on there than others. It does just come off though. There we go. Just take a note of those two ears there. Those are the same ears you see we had on our hose, and they just line up these notches and click into place. And then right down here, you got your fresh tank drain. Opening up that valve does drain any fresh tank that you had, any water that you had inside your fresh tank. You got a coax inlet cable. And then you do have your 30 amp service twist lock plug-in. Just take a note of that notch there. Lines up with this notch on this side. Push that in, 8th turn to lock it in, and then you got that threaded collar to really lock it down. Locks it into place. If you follow that cord back, you come to a standard 30 amp plug-in. Most campsites should have this, and you can plug right on in. But let's say you're at home and you want to run your fridge, or your campsite only has 15 amp service. We do include a 15 amp park adapter, so you can plug into a standard outlet. Just keep it in mind whenever you are plugged into that standard outlet, you can't run something like your air conditioner. It really is just to run your fridge and your lights. You got your furnace exhaust, so whenever your furnace is running, it's going to be blowing out hot air, so just be mindful of that. And then you got your little door for your Suburban on-demand hot water heater. Just pulling that opens that up. You got this switch here, turning that on supplies power to the thermostat, which is located inside. Whenever you're running your hot water, this is also going to be blowing out hot air, so just be mindful of that again. And then when it comes to winterization, this isn't like your standard tank. You aren't going to bypass it. You are just going to run the antifreeze through the system, of course, with it off. And then whenever you're done, just cracking this pressure relief valve, allowing all the antifreeze to drain out as it gets colder and expands, because otherwise you do run the risk of bursting your tank again. A little solar prep plug-in. So if you have a portable solar panel, you can plug that in. As long as the two terminals are hooked up onto the battery, it should charge it. You got your front cover, which we will have on there for you to pick up. It just snaps into place and slides in at the top. Located on the front, you got your front tongue jack. One way is up, the other way is down. You got a little light. Pulling these pins allows this panel to come loose. Just be careful because once it's off, it's just gonna fall. That'll allow you to move this out of the way and give you access to those propane tanks. 2 standard barbecue style propane tanks. You got your selector valve right here. So with the arrow pointed this way, you're gonna draw off this tank. If you were to point it the other way, you'd be drawing off that tank. And just like a standard barbecue, you're just opening up that valve all the way to open up the flow of propane to the unit. Around the other side here, if we open up this guy, this is where we're gonna have your weight distribution, which this customer opted for. And then you got that 3/4 inch drive tool for those jacks, which I told you about already. Two standard plugins. And then located right at the back, you got this guy. You're gonna open that up. You have a little exterior kitchen setup. You're just having to push that red knob down, and which will allow this to slide out. You got your griddle, which does run off propane, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. And then you got this nice little tabletop that does cover this cooler. This is just for traveling purposes. You can pull this right out of there. You got these 2 little mount spots there. You got the same things mounted on the side of the trailer. If you just line them up carefully, they lock into place, and you have yourself a nice little countertop. Just be mindful of how much weight you do put on there. You got your Dometic cooler, which is 12 volt, and it does have a battery pack in it. So if you were to unplug it, you can take it right out of here and take it to the beach with you if you were to want to do so. This is already plumbed into the propane system. So you just have to turn that over to light. This is typically how you would light it. I'll have to check this a little bit here just to see why that isn't working. We will ensure that it does work at the time of pickup. Get inside, you're just opening up that door. You got your stairs. First thing you're gonna notice off on your left is just gonna be that fire extinguisher. You're gonna be pulled a pin and shoot just like home. And then up on the wall, you got all your accent lights as well as your main lights, all right there. You have a little USB plug-in as well as some regular plug-ins. And then you got your awning control. So if you hit that button out, the awning's gonna automatically make its way out. And once fully extended, it'll stop. As that's making its way out, you do have some other features in it. You got your awning LED, so you can turn that on and off. Oh, I accidentally stopped it. You can turn that on and off with those buttons. And then there's a button on the bottom right. That's gonna close the awning and turn off the light at the same time. And then there's the stop button, so you can stop it at any point wherever you'd like it, or just let it run its full course out. And then to bring it in, it's just the top button. Now this awning does have a built-in wind sensor, so once it gets windy, it'll automatically suck itself back in. Of course, as long as you have power connected to it. And there you go, you're all the way out. Now to go back in, just hit that in button and it's going to do the same thing and suck itself back in. And once doing that, you can just take a step on the side. You have a nice living space underneath this glass top. It's going to be that propane stove. Pretty simple. Just turning that over to light, giving it a second, because whenever you do turn off the propane system, it allows air into the system, so sometimes it can just take a minute to get the propane flowing. You see, once that does happen, it fires right up. Always letting this cool off before you close this top, of course, because it is glass, and whenever you're bringing it down, just be gentle with it. You got a light switch just to turn on a little accent light. All the blinds in the unit do work the same way. They're just going to sit where you leave them. One quick pull will allow them to retract back up. Underneath the sink, you do have some storage space, as well as access to the back of the water heater if you were to ever need to get to those connections for whatever reason. And then underneath this cushion, if you just move some cushions out of the way, move this table a little bit, it'll allow you to get access to inside here, and this is going to be where your battery's housed. Other than that, you do have some storage space, of course, just being mindful of everything else that's in there. And this table also does drop down into a dinette / lounge area. It just has a shorter table leg, so you just have to pull this table leg out, install the new table leg, and you'd have an extended seating space. Over on this side here, if you open up this door, you got your battery disconnect switch. So with your battery disconnect switch on, the batteries are disconnected from the unit. With the battery disconnect switch on, the batteries are connected to the unit. With the battery disconnect switch off, the batteries become disconnected from the unit. Inside here, you got your little circuit breaker control panel area. Whenever a breaker trips, it's going to sit in the middle, so you just have to turn it off and then back on again to reset it. And whenever you have a fuse pop, there'll be a little red indicator light letting you know which one's popped. And then you have your thermostat for your hot water heater. Turning it on is just to press of a button. You can turn it between Celsius and Fahrenheit. Up and down is to change your set temperature. And then once you're at that set temperature, it's going to be locked at 50 as an added safety feature so kids can't scald their hands. If you hold and press the up button for 5 seconds, it does unlock it and it'll allow you to go to 55 degrees Celsius. On the other side of the cabinet here, you got your monitor panel system. So you got all your levels: battery, fresh, black, and gray. And it goes a third, 2/3, and then full. And then your battery will go 11.2, 11.7, and then 12.3, which will be fully charged. If you ever get this DSI fault light, that's just letting you know that the water heater isn't lighting. You got all your switches here for a line heater, a water pump, and a tank heater. The tank heater and the line heaters are for extended camping seasons. Whenever you are using them, just keep it in mind, our Manitoba winters are much too cold to go through that. Really, they're only good for maybe -5. And even at that point, you are running the risk of freezing things. Behind me, you do have your fridge. You got your power button right at the top. Push and hold it, turn it on. You're going to turn that on. This is going to be for your fridge setting. So it's currently at 5, and you can go all the way down to 1. 5 is going to be the coldest setting. And then to push that button, then you're adjusting your freezer. And then you do have what's called a sleep mode. So it'll essentially just make it run quieter throughout the night. Power button to push and hold. Turn it off. You got safety latches, so you just have to pull them to open it up. Convection oven, not much I'm going to show you there. A little bit of storage underneath. Whenever your furnace is running, it's going to be pushing air through all the floor portals you see we have throughout the unit. And whenever your air conditioner is running, it's running through these fans here. If you were to close these louvers, it's going to force its air through the ducting, which comes out up top here. And then on the other side is bedroom. There's also another one. The light switch for the bedroom is just on the wall here. Inside these two areas here, in one side, you got your toilet and your sink. And then inside, light switches on your left, and you got your GFI, main GFI plug right there on the wall. So you're gonna have reset on the left, test on the right. Whenever you have a plug that doesn't work, this would be the first place I'd look, just making sure you see that green light. And then on the other side, just gotta get the cameraman over. Open up this door. Light switch is on the wall here. You got your shower area. There also is a fan in the shower area. You're just having to open up that louver. Once opening, you're gonna see you do go straight up into the atmosphere. So if it were to start raining, it will get wet in here. Of course, unless you got a vent cover, which our parts department could get you set up with. You could just contact them to get a quote. It's got a fan with a button there. You're gonna step into the bedroom. You got your max air control, little control panel thing on the wall. Pushing that button once, it's going to open up the vent automatically and turn the fan on to its lowest settings. And then you have 3 more settings after that, which is just higher fan speeds. You can adjust the height of the vent by using the buttons. And you can turn the fan off with the push of a button. If you turn the fan off, it automatically closes the vent. Storage space all around. Again, all the blinds in the unit do work the same way. They just kind of sit where you leave them. And then you got your thermostat on the wall. Pushing that button once, it illuminates itself. Pushing it again, you're going to go into fan low. Now in this case, it's just moving air around with the air conditioner. There's no heating or cooling involved, and it's on a low fan. Pushing that button one more time, you go into a high fan. One more time will get you into cool high. Now this is when the air conditioning takes into effect. And the air conditioner is going to run full time on this setting. One more time, it'll put you into air conditioning cool, low. So it's just on a low fan. And now you get to the auto. So whenever the auto is set, you can set your desired temperature. And whenever the thermostat senses the room's at temperature, it's going to turn off the air conditioner. Same thing on a high fan. And one more time, you get to heat. So it's going to turn the air conditioner off and fire up the furnace. The furnace is going to try lighting 3 times. If on the 3rd try it doesn't light, you do just have to turn this off. The heater is going to run for another 3 minutes just to allow itself to cool down as an added safety feature. And then you can try turning it back on again to have it relight, because like I said, sometimes with the propane system, you do have to make sure everything is primed before you start firing anything. Underneath the bed here, I'm just going to show you, if you pop this guy up, you got nice storage space as well as the cushion, and that's for that front table. Once you bring it down on that lower leg, which is inside the front compartment, you can put this into place and it allows for that cushion. And then inside here, you just got your water pump for winterization. So you got your the bypass tube with the little valve. And then this valve right here is just an added low point drain for any water or anything that's sitting inside here. And you have a second bedroom light switch just on the wall as well. That's going to be it for this unit here. If you have any other questions, feel free to give us a call.